Hey guys, this is Savannah from earthandwater.co. Today I'm here with a guest, Rajeshwari Rai, which is a wonderful, beautiful name. I love it so much. I was just telling her about it. Now I want to tell you guys about it. But she's a Reiki practitioner, and I am so glad that you're here. We haven't talked about Reiki yet on the podcast, so you get to introduce it to my audience. Some of them, we do have a lot of energy healing direction. So a lot of them have heard of Reiki before. A lot of them have never heard the word at all. So if you want to address what that even is for the ones who don't know.
Okay. So for me, Reiki is an energy healing modality, but in essence, what it does is it will relax. It will get the body into the parasympathetic nervous system. Like it will basically activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And I think like so many of us are in a constant like drive and hustle mode, which if you don't take the time to slow down, it's hard to recognize where we are in freeze. I think it's freeze, flight, and can't recall the last one. Yeah, basically we get into like these zones where your body's not relaxing. And Reiki is one of the ways to come to a parasympathetic nervous system where your body can like breathe and like let go of all the stress that it's holding on. So with like our coffee and all that, it's not helpful that we have coffee first thing in the morning because that actually stresses your body out. Apparently, you're only supposed to have like coffee 2 hours after you wake up. They But that was a cool cup, like at a Chinese word. I wonder what that means.
I don't know. It's supposed to be a Naruto cup. That's all I know. But
All right.
I'm a little obsessed. I have my jacket's also Naruto, but that's totally
Yes.
off topic.
Actually, I used to be a chemistry teacher. I still do like chemistry tuitions on and off. So for the logical ones amongst us, I'll always tell them that Reiki is about resetting your nervous system, getting you into a place where they say that you're resourced, you're calm, you can think about the answers to your solution from a different space rather than being anxious and panic and like traumatized. Like those are not resourceful states, and we don't always make the best decisions from those points. So for the woo-woo people, like because I'm also like semi-woo-woo, Reiki actually can do things like work on your childhood issues, like any trauma that you feel you have, that you haven't worked through with a counselor. It can also do like past life related stuff. A lot of my clients are coming to me for ancestral stuff. So it's such a big spectrum, but in essence, what Reiki promises to do is to make sure that you go back feeling a lot better before you came for the session.
Okay, I love how you framed that because I've been looking towards Reiki and being certified for a while now. And I have people keep coming to me asking me if I do Reiki because it just makes sense that I do, but I don't yet. Yet. It's really hard to find someone around here in person who can certify me. But anyway, I've never heard anyone put it in those terms before, how it, because to really tap into all of this stuff and make it work for you, because it is a you thing, like we facilitate the energy healing, but all of the work is done inside of our clients by them. We just guide them through, right? And a lot of times, like you have to be able to believe it fully for it to work. And a lot of people have hard time bridging that gap between the woo woo and the
Yeah.
real tangible. And I love that. I love anytime we can bring the tangible to the woo woo. It's just
Mhm.
bliss in my world. But yeah, if you're in the fight, flight, or freeze response, then all of the healing modalities within your body shut down.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the opposite of that is the rest and digest, right? Which
Yes.
is where the healing comes in. So yeah, I'm really glad that you put that in perspective for me because it makes sense. I mean, it's like duh, obviously, but until you really lay it out, hindsight's 2020. We don't really understand until we understand, right?
No, you're right. Like, just 10 minutes ago, I posted on a group chat about the 99 portal and how I'm offering my Reiki services at a discounted rate for the people in Singapore. And the admin reached out to me and she's like, what's the significance of the 99? I'm trying to understand like why you're making this offer now. And I told her like I know what the portal means. And it was just a way of like, offering something at a reduced rate for this period which of transition, which could be overwhelming for people. And she was like, yeah, then educate them about it, blah, blah, tell them what the portal does. And I was like, no, anyone coming to me for Reiki would have heard of it or they would have had friends trying out Reiki, yeah, or they have some inkling of Reiki, what the portals do. And I was like, I'm not gonna put like a bunch of jumble in there, like to oversaturate the mind. Like, yeah, whoever wants to find out the info will find out. Or they will DM me to look for the info.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like Reiki. I think because I teach, so I like that I can kind of like tie the two together a little bit. Yeah, but a lot of my work has been around education. Like I'm getting on as many podcasts as I can, telling people about it.
Well, yeah, more people need to know for sure. And
Mm-mm.
especially if you have a background in chemistry, that is really cool. And it
Yes.
really it helps us. Academia for so long has, laughed people out of the industry if they try to study any of this or understand any of this, which
Mhm.
really like makes you wonder why. We could go into conspiracies. Are y'all trying to shut it down, or are you trying to or because the more we find out, and like quantum physics for example is really bringing a lot of this to light as being actually tangible. We just didn't understand it before. We didn't have the science, we didn't have the words, we didn't have the
Mm.
understanding from
The
a
language, right? Yes.
physical standpoint. We had to, technology had to advance a little bit so that we could find the understanding. But the ancients have been trying to tell us this for centuries.
Yes. I met a guy who was on a date. He's a business coach, and he kept trying to ask me about Reiki. And he's Christian, and Christians don't like talking about Reiki, I guess. So it was like, is heaven and hell real? Blah blah. But this like I was telling him like I know what I'm talking about. Like I've done enough research on it that I'm quite confident that I could. Maybe I wouldn't be able to explain it to everyone, but some people will get the gist. And for those who kind of always sound like, give me 10 minutes, let's do Reiki on you and see how you feel. Like just try it. Like try anything once, So you don't have to do Reiki with me, like do it with somebody.
Yeah, you want to go into these things with an open mind. Try to actually touch on and experience it with see what you can get out of it before you just write it off, because especially stuff like this, all of us need healing in some form or fashion or direction. And as especially healing modalities that are 100% non-problematic, like with medications or procedures, there's almost always negative possibilities, if not
Mhm.
if not promised negative outcomes like side effects and whatnot. Then there's always the possibility of, and stuff like Reiki, my whole philosophy towards stuff like this has always been might help, won't hurt. Definitely won't
Yes.
hurt. It might help. Why not at least give it a shot, right?
I mean, I think the big thing about Reiki is a lot of people think it's placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, placebo is placebo. Even some medicines are placebo.
I mean,
So
so
it's
what if
not
it
like,
is?
yeah. So they were like, oh, if it's placebo, if it's not real, but that's the basis of all our healing and that's the basis of medicines. So it's like you gotta like have some certainty, like you want to accept Reiki. Like I feel like a lot of them don't get it and they don't want to understand it. But having said that, I used to be like that. Like my journey into Reiki was weird. I had an ex-husband and he had an affair in like 2012. I was really young, like I was like 27, maybe 25. And some of my friends were not married. If they were married, none of their husbands were having an affair. So I kind of didn't know who to speak to. And at that time, I thought there was a bit of black magic or something going on as well. So with all of that, someone told me to go for a past life regression. And I was like, this is not comfortable. I've never done it before. But I was like, yeah, whatever, try everything once. So I went, and one of the things that came up was to do Reiki. So I remember skipping school once because the sessions were in the afternoon, and I went for the Reiki share, and it felt so much like a cult that I was like, whoa, I'm not doing this. And I didn't do it for like 10 years. But I think 2020, my friend told me that she went for 3 sessions of Reiki and she had a boyfriend by the end of the 3 sessions. And I was like, yeah, I want a boyfriend. I'm gonna go get Reiki. Yeah, so it's really that kind of started me again on my journey about Reiki and understanding what it did. But last year, January, my friend passed away by suicide, and I felt that Reiki was so soothing. Like I sought out a counselor, I sought out a psychologist, and I didn't always have the language to express my grief. But with Reiki, I just needed for the person to like hold space for me. So I was like, yes, I'm definitely gonna do this for people. Like I felt so good at the end of the sessions. Like it just felt like this is something that I want to move forward with.
Well, cool. Did it work? Did you get your boyfriend?
Not yet. Not yet. But you were telling me that I have like so many types of Reiki on my platform, and I feel like because I'm trying to work on like my money, like I am very blessed, but I feel like there are things that I would want more of, like a partner who's compatible. So I keep finding all this other stuff, and it seems to work really quickly for my clients. And I'm like, where's my boyfriend? Like, where's my person? So yes, it will be here soon. Like I think with all these things, there's a divine timing. And for people who don't know about Reiki, they will find it, when they're meant to find it.
Yeah. That's the thing about being the practitioner a lot of times though, is that, it works better for our clients because they have the practitioner to guide them, help them, do the work for them. Kind of, it's not really for you, but
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying. But like, we don't have someone behind us beaming the energy down to us most of the
Yes.
time. So that's where the disconnect is. But yeah, you have what is like 6 different Reiki? No, that's 5. I can't count because I always thought that there was just one form of Reiki, but you have 5. Dragon? What's Dragon Reiki?
So I haven't played with Dragon Reiki. The first time I got attuned to it, because with Reiki you have to get attuned to it. Like a master will
Yeah.
send the symbols to you. And my laptop crashed that week, and my aircon died on me, and my washing machine died on me. And I think it was just too much energy for my vessel at that time to hold. So I was like, okay, I'm not playing with Dragon Reiki for a while, but I have gone back to it this year, but I'm working with it as an apprentice. Like I'm trying to see what it does for me first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no benefits yet, or no people that I've experimented with on Dragon Reiki with. But soulmate Reiki I've tried. So soulmate Reiki I've used it for someone who was trying to get pregnant.
Okay.
And it was very interesting because like I tend to see I think the symbol is like a heart and like two people connecting together. So for her case, I kind of saw a kid in the center, and I just made it a triangle and had all of them triangulating, like the parent and the child, and I mean the dad and the child and the mom and the child. Yeah, and my friend got pregnant after like several miscarriages, and that was so interesting for me because I didn't want to disappoint her. Like I was like, yeah, I'm a Reiki master. I know how to do soulmate Reiki, but I don't want to make promises that I can't keep, and she's a good friend. Yeah, so she got pregnant after that. I know an ex-student who had 6 days after it. So soulmate Reiki seems to be my most popular offering. And then there's also money Reiki, which is like a lot of people think they will do money Reiki and get money, which they can. But money Reiki was channeled by somebody, and her intention was to neutralize money. Like she says that we keep thinking that money is evil, and as a collective, we think that money has all this like a power. And so she's just looking at neutralizing the power of money, coming back to a place where I am the universe, I am divine, I know how to create all the opportunities that I need to create. So I really liked the way she posted it. So you may get more clients, you may get a random amount of money that you want, but in essence, you would be peaceful in the presence or the absence of money. So yeah, those are the two that I've been playing around a lot with. So with Reiki, it's traditional. Most people only work with one, but it's kind of like a radio where you could switch on the radio. But if you go to a different dial, you'll get jazz music. If you go to a different dial, you'll get classical. So it's kind of like just playing around with the nozzle a little bit and fine tuning to that particular frequency that you want. And it's a shortcut. Like we're in that age of having shortcut. Me and Savannah don't have to meet in person. We're doing this over Zoom because we can. So like, why not capitalize on these shortcuts?
Yeah. Would you say like the Dragon Reiki is more powerful than the other ones?
I did experiment with it last year, August. I think it is, yeah, the time I think my vessel wasn't ready for it. Yeah, so I haven't like really offered it as a thing yet. But apparently we are moving into a dimension where like dragons are supposed to come in and unicorns are supposed to come in. There's mermaid Reiki, and there's quite a few. But those next where I'm like, okay, this is maybe getting a bit too woo-woo, even for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I imagine that I will bring in Dragon Reiki in time, like probably next year or so. Once because I feel like I don't want to experiment with things like I don't have a good understanding of.
Mhm.
So it's one thing to experiment with me, but I've also worked with like Ganesh energies. Like it's also a Ganesh attunement, a Ganesh Reiki.
Hmm.
And it's really cool that you can kind of like bring in all this energy. So always when I channel, I always feel like, okay, whichever ones I'm attuned to and whatever this person needs, they will get. Yeah.
Okay,
So that
cool.
would kind of like protect my clients too.
That makes sense that you could like tap into the power of or the energy of different modalities is really the only thing. Like energies, like Dragon has its own energy. Like,
Mm.
Well, you think of a dragon, you can essentially, yeah, tap into the archetypal energy of a dragon. We're like, wow,
Mm.
that's fierce, that's powerful, that's strong. It just makes sense. And it's not a whole lot different than embodying a certain archetype.
No, I was just thinking in yoga terms because you do yoga, right? That there's
Yeah.
yin yang yoga and there's I don't know, like hatha yoga and kundalini yoga, like the different versions, and they're all meant to achieve like different things,
Yeah.
like to an extent. Yeah, but in essence, it's just coming back to the body, embodying a version that's like very resource, coming to a place where you can maybe feel safe to let go of trauma. Like I know there's also like trauma, is it trauma based yoga
There,
or like
yes,
trauma?
it's kind of
Yeah.
new, but yes.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so I haven't played the dragon archetypes enough, but I should go back to it. Like you're the third person to bring it up. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a sign to go play with it a bit more.
I've always been fascinated with dragons, so I do kind of like hyperfixate a little bit on it. But moving back towards the money Reiki, do you pair your services, the Reiki, with like a coaching of some sort? Because Reiki is kind of like, we can go in there and we can help smooth out the energies,
Mm,
recalibrate the energies, but all in all, your mindset is what is going to bring those bad energy. I'm hesitant to say the word bad, undesired energies
mm.
back into your blocks and whatnot if you don't work on the mindset.
I feel like I don't always answer your questions directly, but I'm gonna try to do this with a story.
That's okay.
So last week I had a friend who reached out to me because she claims she has two spirit attachments. A psychic had told her she has two spirit attachments and they're malicious and they're causing her to have her accident. And I was trying to tell her that they're probably like just things that's left over from her miscarriage. Like they're probably not even like spirit attachments. It's probably just like unprocessed grief that the person is seeing in her aura. And I was like telling her we could just up her positive energy because even if they are attachments or like this negative energy, they don't resonate with a positive energy. So if you increase your positive energy enough, in theory, the negative energy should fall away. So in terms of like mindset, I was reading about Stephanie Braille has this thing called 10 bodies of yoga. And I think Kundalini yoga is based on this premise of like having 10 bodies. So there's a neutral mind, the positive mind, the negative mind. So there's three mindset components. And then the physical body, the etheric body, and I can't recall the last five. But I was so impressed that there are 10 bodies because I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is why mindset work alone is not enough. This is why Reiki alone is not enough. You kind of have to like marry the two together, or bring in other things like tapping. Like I do lots of tapping on my own. Like I'm not certified for it. But yeah, it was kind of like knowing which body the problem is stuck in. But if you don't know, you kind of like attack it from like all angles to kind of resolve. So my current clients, they're mostly I want to say like logical and non-woo-woo. And so when I tell them like, oh yeah, we did this, we cleared your ancestral line, we blah blah blah, they don't it always doesn't always make sense to them. So the framework that I've been using with them is human design. Have you heard of it?
I have.
So with human design, which is an astrological tool, I think it blends like five astrological elements like Kabbalah and I Ching and the Vedic astrology and a few others. And it gives me a way to tell them like, look, for you to be good in life, like even without me, you need to go like meditate 45 minutes a day. Like I know how to read their chart and tell them things to do, like go do grounding, or every thought that comes to you, ask if it's your thought or someone else's thought. Or like if they have an open emotional solar plexus, I'll tell them to do a lot of boundary work, like creating an energetic boundary. So usually they don't always feel the Reiki, but if I tell them like, okay, you have to do X, Y, Z, make you do this every day for a certain period of time, and then see how it feels. Like that's 100% like you. Like, and I like doing that for my clients because like Rajesh Rai is an expert in Rajesh Rai. Like I don't want to always have to seek out a person. Like one of my draws with Reiki was that I couldn't always find a counselor or someone to work on me at midnight when I'm actually having a breakdown.
Right.
Yeah. And I need someone that is like I could kind of calm myself down enough to do the Reiki. So I feel like them going away with these tools is helpful. So even if they come to me for one session of Reiki, they do go away with things that they can use like their whole life and improve. Because the idea is that we are perfect beings. And like you said, we have like all these undesirable energies, but it's just about shedding those layers and not attracting them back. Like keeping super clean in your aura and not not allowing other things that resonate with a lower being to attract that.
Yeah, that makes sense because we're brand new at this as humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are like the understanding of because before now it was just everything was faith-based.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust me. Just trust me. Like this is what it is. Just trust it. And now we're starting to actually like understand it and that's a little hard sometimes because you can go into the energies and just remove it. And as long as you trust that it's removed and you feel that it's removed and you agree that it's removed and all of that, then it's removed. Like it's fine. You can heal everything in a split moment. But as humans, we don't feel like it should be that easy. We feel like we have to, heal a little bit now and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll heal a little bit later and then we'll try it again and heal it and like eventually it'll be all completely healed, right? But breaking down our essence essentially into these layers, these energetic layers, helps to understand a little bit because I don't know why because but it does.
Yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like recently my posts, they've all been trying to come from an educational point of view. Like everyone keeps thinking that chakras are like weird or they're like Hindu and all that. And it was very interesting to me that the 7 layers of chakra is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I first came across this in like teaching school. And the premise was like if your child is hungry, he's not gonna listen to you. And I was like, that's so cool. It's true that your safety and security are your primary needs before you can go to like the seventh, which is enlightenment. So there's like all these layers, like you have to make sure there's food, there's water, there's shelter, and then he can like move towards creativity. Like you kind of like move through the 7 layers, and that's what your 7 chakras are supposed to represent. So we
Mhm.
probably have like different models for the same thing in different religions and cultures.
I agree completely. And I came across that post on your Instagram and I was just floored because I connected Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the chakras in like 2016 when I first started getting into all of this. I like pretty
Wow.
immediately was like, it's the same thing. And I wrote like I've done so much content on the chakras versus the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and you're the first person I've ever seen that also connected those things. So, I mean, I didn't think I'd come up with it or anything. I was sure that but it definitely wasn't a very prominent connection from what I could tell. So, and I was just
Hmm.
floored because it does make things a little bit easier to understand because with the chakras, you work from the bottom up. And with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you also work from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And that model right there is what I base every bit of my coaching practices on. Because again, like you said, if you don't have food, water, shelter, your basic bottom structural needs, then finding your highest self up here doesn't really matter. You're
Yeah.
not going to make it there.
No, I agree. Like I was talking to a friend, but sorry, I want to bring in this thing. Like I don't know why this one's a country, but I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she was saying how she went for I think it's a millionaire mind by T. Harv Eker, I think. Like he had a workshop in Singapore, and right after the workshop, she wanted a Reiki session because she said like, "Oh, my sis is trying to run away from home. Like she's bipolar." And I was telling her like, "Isn't it cool that you're trying to upgrade? You're trying to move to the next rank, the next rung of the ladder, and something's pulling back." It's just like the 3D is not real per se, but it takes a lot of effort to see the 3D is not real. And I was like, oh, fascinating that you have this problem right after you tried to upgrade yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, like, no, I'm not going to do the Reiki for you. Like, go sit with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I really like that you give people tools like meditations and stuff because like
Mm.
we can list out a 2-page like just bullet point list of all of the things that the tools that people could go use to work through these things themselves, but they really do. For one, it is a lot to work through, like
Mm.
not every modality is going to be the modality for you. Not every meditation is your type of meditation. For example, like if, because most people think of meditation as just sitting still for like hours at a time, cross-legged and good posture and just silencing the mind. And, if you have a lot of yin energy in your life already, you're very sedimentary, you sit a lot, I don't know, couch potato or whatever, then maybe that type of meditation isn't the best meditation for you. Maybe you need to do a more active meditation where you get more benefit from taking a walk in nature type of meditation, because there's like a lot of different modalities and stuff. So yeah, coming to a practitioner that can help you like analyze yourself a little bit and figure out where you're at and where you want to be, and just somebody who's been doing all of this, and you can bounce ideas and problems off of them, and then you can prescribe them essentially like a doctor prescribes you
Yes.
an apple a day or whatever it is. They leave and they're like, okay, it's the accountability, like they told me that I need to do X, Y, and Z 3 times a day for 3 weeks and then come back and talk to them. So, they go do that and then they come back and talk to us. And we're over here like, did you take your vitamins? and then either yes I did and it helped, or no, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Like, I just finished my container because I also do this like 1 month Reiki container to support people who have like who need more help. So like my client was having an affair and she was deciding if she wants to work on her marriage. And I was like, look, I can't say like it's a yes or no, but let the Reiki like give you the answer. But she was always in a zone of like, oh, I don't know what to do. But the truth is that you do know what to do. You just don't like the implications of what Deck's telling you. So I feel like I try to bring in like NLP stuff. Like I'll get her to do the crossroads exercise and think about if she's going to divorce, and what does that look like in her mind? What does that feel like in her body? Is she comfortable with that feeling? And then if she goes back to the crossroad and that's the other, that she's moving on from the marriage, what does that feel like? So a lot of times I think people don't like to make a decision because they don't like the implications, or they think like this decision has to be the one decision and I cannot make any mistake. Like there's no coming back from this. And that's not true. Like nothing ever goes wrong. Like we always, align. Like it took me a series of steps before I and Savannah connected. So it's like everything that I've done up to this point, like did lead up to this competition. So I think like as long as even if they're not doing their homework, like this client was a bit naughty and she didn't take her vitamins, didn't do all the stuff that I told her to do. But I had to recognize that, she's resisting, it's not comfortable. And then we get the Reiki to look at the resistance and see what does she need in order for her to feel safe enough to do those things. So eventually it took a while, but we were like, okay, we have a decision. It's leaning towards like 51%. And I was like, I'll take it, at least share the decision.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. We all know. It's just a matter of like, we don't want to know.
Yes.
So we fight it because we don't want the responsibility of knowing. Because if we have the responsibility of knowing, we have the responsibility of having to do. And
Yes.
it's scary.
It is. So I think like Reiki is therefore supportive in those aspects. But also like I was just looking at like my modem. I was trying to reset my internet. It wasn't working. And I came across this analogy and I was like, this is such a cool analogy for Reiki too. So it talked about how when you call up the person, the IT person, they always tell you to reset your button and you just press a hold. And I was like, this is what meditation does, and this is what Reiki does. Like it will basically remind it like where home is. So you go back to a certain reference point. And then from this point, it's like, I know where to go now. I know that I can take this route and I'll end up like to my office, or do this other route and I end up at my, I don't know, like a coffee shop that you want to go. So I thought that Reiki, meditation, EFT, they're all tools just to like come back home and just basically get to a resource place. So I even like yoga, and I struggle a lot with yin yoga, but it does tell me that this is the work that I need to do to get to a place. And I like how you talked about yin as being a sedentary kind of energy, because I was just reading about the 5 elements, and I think they describe that as earth, like too much earth element in the body. That's why you're very like solid and not moving.
Yeah, the ones that drive us crazy the most and the ones that are hardest to do are oftentimes the ones that we need the most, because like attracts like, right?
Yes. But your accountability pose was so cool. You were like, no, just okay, just sit here, like just stretch. You don't have to like bounce. And I was like, okay, somebody so nice. Like she's not judging you. She said, yeah, do what you can.
Oh yeah,
And it's such a
absolutely.
nice non-judgmental place to come from. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I have to really, I don't know, yoga scares people for some reason.
It's
Especially
hard.
that's what they keep telling me. And I'm like, I got into yoga because I came across a blog post one day that said how to exercise if you're lazy. And I was like, this is it.
Ooh.
What is it? What is it? Tell me your secrets. And it was about yin yoga. And basically, you just sit in these stretches. That's all you gotta do. You just sit in the floor or lay in the floor in these certain positions for as long as you can. And like 2 to 4 minutes is ideal. But like I'll fall asleep in these, and my clients are like, or my students are sweating, and like their breathing is heavy. And I'm like, all we're doing
I
is
relate. I relate to everything you say.
but I also understand it from an energy standpoint, and they don't. And that's probably why it comes off as hard to them most of the time, is that the stretching and sitting in it is creating space in your body to get that energy moving. So when the energy gets moving, you have all of these energetic blocks that are just the stagnant energy that's stuck there, that emotion from that time you were betrayed by your best friend and you never really got over it. So it's just been sitting in your hip muscles. And now, and they've been tight, you've never stretched them out, that you've never let it go. And letting go from both a mental and physical standpoint, because we get in these stretches and then it starts releasing and relaxing the muscles, the ligaments, creating space for not only energy flow, but better blood flow, better, like oxygen flow, oxygen's being able to get to the cells better. And in that, it's clearing out all of that tension that you had from that emotional thing that happened years and years ago. So yeah, it's uncomfortable. And you may actually, the sweating and the heavy breathing might not actually be from the stretch itself as much as it is from that trauma that's being released and processed to leave out. But like, it doesn't, on its way out, it doesn't say, hey, this is from when that happened. We have no idea. We're just like suddenly crying, and we think it's because it's the yoga hurts, but it's yeah.
No, last year I came across this thing called trauma release exercise. I went to an EMDR specialist when I was working with the grief for my friend. And it was so cool because I was just like shaking. Like they get you into certain positions and your body will just shake. And I just felt really good at the end of the day. And I was like, oh, this is amazing because I don't have to know like when it originated. Like I don't have to know the when, the why, the how. I was just like, I feel better. I like this space. I'm gonna come back and do this like again and again until I feel like all of it is as much of it is out of my system as possible. But with trauma and like yoga and all this, we always think like, oh, what can I do until I don't have any more trauma? But that's like saying like, how do I shower so nicely today that I don't have to shower again tomorrow?
Absolutely. I like that analogy, because you're absolutely right. Things are always going to be thrown at us. And, honestly, a lot of us feel like the more we work through and process our trauma, the more we catch from like
Yes.
outside and stuff. It's like, no, leave me alone. I'm doing everything right. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm eating my apple a day. I'm stretching. I'm meditating. Leave me alone. But that's just, like attracts like, and you're processing it. So, but it's also a good level up, because you can't level up your life without all of these character building things.
No, I agree. Actually, I remember going to my third or fourth session with the EMDR lady, and I was like, in the past, I feel like they would have thrown this problem at me, and I would have been like, okay, bring it on, and I would have been able to tackle it. But I was telling her, like, now, like, even the slightest inconvenience, like, oh, and like making me go into this like heightened state. And she's like, yeah, because now I'm teaching you what normal really is. Like, this is what normal is, and this is what your normal used to be, like a lot higher. So she talked about how I had such a heightened state in my nervous system. I had like a really high pain tolerance. And she's like, and that's not normal. And she's like, now that you know what normal is, like the slightest bit, then you can like process it quickly. I was like, okay, that's true. That I catch it so much quicker. And so it moves more quickly. So like even for me, like I'm supposed to do my Reiki every day, and I've already been doing that for a few years.
Yeah, I agree completely. Your tolerance level, it's like, they talk about when you tell friends about your trauma and you're like numb to it, and everybody else is like sitting there with their gaping mouths, like, you what? Like, you experienced what? And you're like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, because it does feel heightened when you start to find your normal, because our emotions and feelings help guide us through. But if we're resisting those feelings and cutting them off before they even get there, not only does the trauma sit with us a lot longer, but it's bigger impact. So if it feels, it's kind of like doing the hard stuff up front. So, okay, you make the coffee maker tonight so that you don't have to in the morning, type of thing. That you're putting forth energy right now, discomfort right now, because I don't want to make the coffee maker right now. You know, that's tomorrow morning me's problem. But if I just make myself get up and go do it, then it's going to be better in the morning, right? And that's a weird analogy that feels disconnected, but it's the same thing in like doing the work up front so that it's an easier process. Because if you do just allow those emotions and feelings to come in and like smack you in the face right now, then you can go ahead and cry about it and then move forward. And then, because you know, you got to cry about it first, and then you got to like, so here's some solutions now we're on the other side of it, we've let it go. And yeah, I find myself, I have a family member right now who's very close to me who just got diagnosed with cancer. And you know, it's heavy. Instead, used to, I would have mulled over this for just an eternity, right? Like there would have been no waking moment that I couldn't put it to the side and get other things done. It would have been all encompassing. It would have been, I would have not been able to do anything else. But now, since I've been doing all of this work, like, yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, it was a blow to the face. And I cried and I was not okay for like 2 hours. And then I started like reining myself back and was like, all right, cool. All right. So yeah, that hurts. All right. All right. So what are the facts? What do we know? Now I can get my head straight. Now I can know where to look now to move forward. And because, you know, it's the whole like the process of grief, you know, you got to feel it, then I don't know, it's like denial and then acceptance. And then once you hit accept, there's some more in there somewhere. There's like 5 or something. I'm not really sure. It's been a really long time since I've read about that. But once you hit acceptance is when you start to like be better, I guess, emotionally, just as an example.
No, I hear you. That is just like leveling up. But I love the self-awareness. Like you knew that in the past this would have taken me like XYZ days, but now it's taking me only like the 2 hours, and I can move forward knowing like with all the tools that I have. So I think that the self-awareness is like amazing. I was just talking to a friend today who had like chest congestion, and she went to the doctors and she was talking about how they were giving her a bunch of medicine that she didn't want, and she thought that was because they were just trying to like raise the prices on it. And so finally she refused it and went home, and she said, but I'm still sick. So I told her to do a qigong exercise. I was like, chest seems to be unprocessed grief. And I was like, you're sick and maybe you don't want to hear this, but chest is always about unprocessed grief. And for her, it's been like 2 to 3 weeks now. And I was like, just try this 5-minute exercise, see what happens. And she did it, and she says like she feels so much better. And I said, there you go. Like it's really just about moving the things, and the physical stuff that presents in the body is always like it has to be an energetic body first, right, before it filters down to the physical body. But knowing that you can hold space for yourself, I think that's amazing, Savannah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, trying to explain to people that, because I know that, but like there's such a disconnect between people who know these things and like the quote unquote normal people. And for example, my grandmother has had heart issues for years and years and years. And man, can you imagine? I find myself all the time trying to explain to her that heartbreak and unprocessed heartbreak is what causes heart issues without her thinking I'm crazy.
Yes. Like they're not open to listening to it, right? Like I had an auntie with cancer, and she mentioned how like Reiki helps her sleep better. And I was like, yeah, if it helps you sleep better and if it helps regress the cancer, like that's cool. But it was kind of hard to tell her like, hey, this is you being too critical with yourself, and that's why it's like eating away at you and presenting like that. Yeah, but also like they're older and they don't always understand, and I feel like it's fine. Like I would do, like if they ask for the Reiki, I'll send it. But if they don't, I guess they'll probably get to a place where it's uncomfortable and they will work on it. But yeah, until she gets there, it's like, it's fine. I realize that not everybody has to be at the same place like I am on. Like Harris Lee, I think, or Lee Harris, he had a book, Conversations with a Z. It's a channeled text. And he was saying how if everybody stood on the same rung of a ladder, if the ladder represented consciousness and everybody was standing at the same place, then it'll be awfully crowded on that rung.
That's
And
true.
it's like, yeah, so it's like, it's cool, just be accepting of wherever they are. And so he also talked about life as being a puzzle and how if we knew all the puzzle pieces, like if I knew like, oh, everything I needed to make my life 100%, because I was just thinking like, some people are like, oh, Rajesh doesn't have a boyfriend. Why should I trust her to have like soulmate Reiki from? And sometimes I wonder that myself too. And then I recall that if I had all the puzzle pieces, then life's not fun anymore. Like you kind of want to have some curiosity about life. Like where's this gonna take me next? So I thought that that was really cool. Like his rung, the ladders analogy, and the puzzle analogy. That you don't have to have it all figured out now. It'll make sense at the end. And if it doesn't make sense yet, then you have another lifetime to try and another lifetime to try. Like what? There's no rush. We get
Yeah.
there. We get there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because even those of us who are in positions of leadership like this, everybody wants us to have all the answers. And you know what? A lot of people in leadership positions pretend to, but that's so non-realistic. Nobody has all the answers. We are all, because even people like us, we're still humans experiencing the human experience just like you guys are. Like all I can
Mm-mm-mm.
do is present to you what I have available. And then, but you probably got some pieces that I've never seen before that I could use. And
Yes.
that's what we have to remember. Everything is an exchange of energy. And but yeah, it's really hard. It can be really hard when you have like a family member or a loved one or a friend or something that's going through something and you're like, I see you struggling. Have you tried this right here? Oh, you think that's hogwash. Okay. Okay. But like you could try it, you don't want to try it. Okay.
So Reiki actually has this principle that you can send someone Reiki because Reiki is always permission based. So I remember there was a guy who wanted me to do Reiki for like a population of students, and I was like, I can't, because I don't have explicit permission from the kids. I don't have permission from the parents. But there is this like bypass that you could, like, I think we had the Maui. Was it the Maui fires?
Yes.
The ones in Hawaii. So they said that you can send Reiki to like a region and to a group of individuals in that region and just ask that if their higher self wants the Reiki, let them accept it. And if they don't, then it will go to the ground and it will go to whoever else wants it. So I have like two different teachers. I mean, by now I have like 5 different teachers for Reiki, right? Because everyone I learned a different modality from. So they're always like divided about it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna do like what's best. But you can always have a caveat that, only if the person wants it, they'll receive it. So I will send like my friends who are struggling, they don't want it, then it's gonna go to someone else who will appreciate it.
I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that because I'm probably going to use it.
Yeah, I've been my friend was telling me how her relationship with her father is like strained. But she's a Reiki practitioner, and I was like, you don't have to talk to him physically, like just connect with him energetically and tell him everything you want to
Yeah,
tell him and have the conversation. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
absolutely. That's definitely a thing. Yes. And it goes into that whole like we're all connected. And so the intention, it's all about the intention, and the intention
Mm,
will find the person that it is meant to find. It's like prayer. It's the same
it
thing.
is.
People will pray all day long and think that they're actually doing something, but the moment we talk about Reiki, it's like, hold on, what are you talking about? It's the same
Yes.
thing.
No, it is. So I think it's like for me, where I'm coming from is like I know the science of it. So whoever gets it, I'll explain the science a little bit. I know the woo aspect, and so I tell them about it. But this is like me, right? Like I like the science, I like the woo. But the last thing that Reiki, like people are always surprised by is the fact that I do it all online. So I
Mhm.
don't actually meet my clients. And then they're like, oh, how does that make sense? Like, even like laying hands on them. Like they're like, oh, you can't lay hands. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to. But I'll tell them how I can have a Zoom connection with them or I can WhatsApp them. And they don't care that I'm not next to them. Like how come the proximity becomes like ultra important when I'm sending energy healing? So I thought it's the same. Like I have a frequency, your computer knows how to receive the frequency from my laptop, and my body knows how to send a frequency that your body knows how to receive. So I'm like, yeah, it kind of works the same way. We don't ask these questions about why my phone is able to talk to your phone. We just accept that it does.
Yeah, a quantum entanglement.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this has been
Yeah.
wonderful. I've really enjoyed this conversation with you.
No, go ahead. I was just going to like share this really stupid thing that I did. Because I used to have a crush. I think it was Emily in Paris, the chef guy. And I was like, if I'm connected with him like that, am I quantum entangling him? Because one of the things I'm trying to manifest is a date with him. a date with this guy. Yeah, so I was like, okay, so if I've seen him, does that mean he has been quantum entangled with me? But yeah, I'm not having much success with that yet.
Well, I hope it works out.
Yeah, I hope
If
so
well, if
too.
it's meant to, right?
Yeah, okay, I try.
Hey, all any of us can do is try our best. Because
Yes.
you gotta shoot your shot to make the basket. So
Yeah, I'll reach out to you if it does, you know, if it's like, hey, Rajesh.
I'd love to hear. I'd love to
Yeah.
hear. Please keep me updated with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming up on our hour, and this has been wonderful. Would you like to tell people where they can find you? And of course, I'll link it around, but
Sure. My website is Reiki Energetics. That's REIKI dash ENERGETIX.com. And my Instagram handle is by the same name without the dash. So Reiki Energetics. I'm also on LinkedIn, but yeah, I do it on LinkedIn for like my smart folks. Like it's a bit more intellectual. But yeah, you can reach out to me on those platforms. I'm most accessible on my Instagram.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this today. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Savannah, for having me.
You have a great day.
You too.
Rajeshwari Rai, you guys, if she lived closer, we would be best friends. So go hang out with her. She's pretty cool. And come hang out with us at patreon.com/earth and water for ad-free episodes and stuff. And I will talk to you next week. Love you.